The city never slept, cars moved like rivers of light beneath the glass windows of the tallest building downtown. And on the 47th floor, a man sat alone in complete silence, not poor, not broken. Not forgotten by the world, no. Everyone knew his name, millions admired him. People called him successful, but every night he ate dinner alone, and nobody knew why. Ethan Cole was the kind of man people dreamed of becoming. Luxury apartment, black sports car, perfect suits, a company worth millions. The kind of life people repost online with captions like, goals, manifestation, one day. But if anyone had walked into his apartment after midnight, they would have seen the truth, the untouched food, the sleeping pills beside the sink, the silence so heavy it almost felt alive, and a man slowly disappearing inside his own success. Ethan wasn't always like this. Years earlier, he was just a quiet boy from a small town. His father worked at a factory. His mother cleaned houses. Money was always tight, but their home still felt warm. Small dinners together, laughing over cheap takeout, watching old movies on a broken couch. Back then, Ethan thought happiness was simple, until life taught him otherwise. One winter evening, his father sat beside him and said softly, "Son, the world only respects people who win." That sentence stayed inside Ethan for years. Like a scar. From that moment, he became obsessed with success. Not because he loved money, but because he was terrified of being powerless again. At school, he worked harder than everyone else, while other teenagers went to parties. Ethan stayed awake studying until sunrise, while friends fell in love. He built plans, dreams, businesses, and slowly, he stopped feeling like everyone else. Because success has a dangerous side effect nobody talks about. The higher you climb, the harder it becomes to relate to people below you. Years passed. Ethan became successful young. Very young, at 28. He sold his tech company for more money than his parents had seen in their entire lives. News articles called him brilliant. Interviews called him inspiring. People online worshipped his discipline. But success changed the atmosphere around him. Conversations became fake, smiles became strategic. Even friendships started sounding like business deals, and the strangest part, the more successful he became, the lonelier he felt. Then one night, he met her. Her name was Clara. She wasn't impressed by his money, didn't care about his watch, didn't even know who he was at first. And for the first time in years, someone spoke to Ethan like he was human, not a brand. Not a success story, just a person. She loved small things. Rain sounds, old bookstores, late night coffee. She once told him, "Peace is expensive now. That's why so few people have it." Ethan laughed when she said it, but deep down, something about those words frightened him, because despite all his wealth, he had no peace at all. For a while, Clara changed him. He started sleeping better, smiling more, working less. He even ignored meetings sometimes just to sit beside her at the park, watching strangers walk by, doing absolutely nothing. And strangely, those became the happiest moments of his life. Not the million-dollar deals, not the interviews, not the applause, just silence. With someone who made him feel understood. But broken people often ruin. That night, He sat outside alone under the porch light. Clara walked beside him and whispered, "You know. You don't have to prove your worth forever." Ethan stared into the darkness. Then quietly asked, "What if I stop? And realize there's nothing inside me without success?" Clara didn't answer immediately. Because some fears are too deep for quick answers, finally she said softly, "Then maybe success was never the thing saving you." But Ethan couldn't change, not fully. The world still praised him for working harder, growing faster, earning more. And addiction to achievement is dangerous, because society rewards it. So he went back to the city, back to endless meetings, back to sleeping 4 hours a night, back to becoming a machine. Clara slowly drifted away. Not because she stopped loving him, but because she realized something painful. You cannot save someone who is emotionally drowning. If they refuse to stop pretending they can breathe underwater. One night, after canceling dinner plans for the 5th time, Ethan finally received a message from her. "I miss the version of you that smiled at sunsets." That message destroyed him, because he remembered that version too. And he knew exactly when he lost him, weeks later. Clara was gone, no dramatic goodbye. No screaming, just silence. The kind of silence that arrives after love gets tired of waiting, and suddenly, the penthouse felt colder. The city lights looked meaningless. Even success became strangely quiet. Ethan tried distracting himself with work. More projects, more money, more achievements, but grief has a way of following people into empty rooms. Especially at night, especially when there's nobody left to text. Nobody waiting at home. Nobody asking how your day was. One evening, after another exhausting meeting, Ethan walked into his apartment and froze. The silence felt unbearable. He looked around slowly. Designer furniture, expensive art. Success had given him comfort, but it had quietly stolen connection. And humans can survive without luxury, but not without connection. That night, Ethan opened old voice messages from Clara. He listened to her laugh again. Her little pauses, her soft voice saying, "Don't forget to live while you're busy building your life." And for the first time in years, Ethan admitted the truth. He wasn't chasing success anymore. He was running from loneliness, from childhood fears, from the belief that being successful would finally make him worthy of love. But love was never waiting at the finish line. Months later, people noticed changes. Ethan stopped attending certain events, stopped posting online, stopped pretending everything was perfect. He traveled alone for a while. Small towns, quiet mornings, ocean sounds, places where nobody cared how successful he was, and slowly, he started feeling human again. One afternoon, he sat at a tiny cafe near the sea. An old man nearby smiled and asked, "You here for work?" Ethan looked out at the water, then answered quietly, "No. I think I'm here to remember how to live." The old man laughed softly, then said something Ethan would never forget. Most people spend their youth sacrificing peace to chase money, then spend their old age sacrificing money trying to find peace again. Ethan stared at the waves for a long time after that, because deep down, he knew how true it was. Years later, people still admired Ethan Cole, but not because he became richer or more famous. They admired him because he changed. He finally learned how to sit with people without checking his phone. How to eat dinner slowly, how to call his mother just to talk. How to watch sunsets without needing productivity from them. He learned something most people learn too late. Life is not only about becoming someone. And sometimes, the saddest people are not the ones who failed. They are the ones who achieved everything they wanted and still felt empty afterward. Because money can buy comfort, attention, status, luxury. But it cannot buy genuine connection. It cannot buy inner peace. And it cannot give meaning to a life that forgot how to feel. So tonight, before you sacrifice another relationship for work, before you ignore another loved one, before you convince yourself that happiness can wait until someday, ask yourself something honestly: if success finally arrived tomorrow, but you had nobody left to share it with, would it still feel worth it? Maybe the richest people are not the ones with the biggest houses, maybe they are the ones who still have someone to laugh with at dinner, someone to call during hard nights, someone who makes silence feel warm instead of lonely. And maybe real success has nothing to do with money at all.